How's it going, everyone? This is Chris here from Chris Designs, and we're going to be going over our first tutorial of this channel, and this is going to be the best possible rendering settings you can achieve in Cinema 4D without having Grayscale Gorilla's HDR Lighting Pro. That's obviously, you can do a lot with that, but if you don't have that and you just have Cinema 4D, this video is good for you because it'll show you the best possible quality you can achieve and how you can achieve it. So first off, I'm just gonna make a floor with some text, just so I can show you guys the quality differences in. I can show you the quality differences in the settings I use. So, and add a floor, add some text if you're just following, or do whatever. And these settings also work for your animation or just a picture. For the sake of the tutorial, I'm just gonna do a picture, and go ahead and get a material here. Make it whatever you want. I like adding reflection because it looks really good when you're done. Make that white reflection, just a slight. Go ahead and add that to the floor. Alright, so we're going to render it here with no effects that I have added, or no settings. And render that, and alright, so it looks pretty good, but it looks kind of shitty. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna add a light, and if you're doing an animation, you basically can add the light wherever you want, or add multiple lights wherever you want. So we're gonna go ahead and render this with a light. So it looks a little better. I think what would make this look a lot better if we go to light, go down here to shadow. And where it says shadow, go ahead and hit shadow maps soft. Go ahead and render that, and that adds a nice shadow to it. But we're still missing something. It's really not popping out at you. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go up here to our render settings, and when you click that button, you should get a window pop up. And by default, it should be selected on general. So for when you see under general, it says render engine. Make sure this is selected on full render, and everything's good here. So when you go down to output, width, depending on the size of your computer, you're going to want a 1280 by 720. That's a default HD size. But if you want to go bigger, the next size bigger I would recommend would be 1920 by 1080. If you're working on a larger screen, such as 27-inch iMac, you're going to want a bigger image so it looks more crisp. So I'm going to make mine 1920 by 1080. And once you change it, you should notice some change in the picture. That's normal. So you got the width and the height. Now you're gonna come down here. Everything else by default is fine. And for frame range, you're gonna come down here to if you're just working with a picture, you're gonna want to leave it as current frame. So I'm working with a picture, so I'm gonna leave it there. But if you did want to work with the animation, you would go to all frames, and depending how many frames you have, you're gonna want to change this. And that's it for that. So I'm gonna leave mine on current frame since working with a picture. So now we go down to the save tab. Make sure this is selected, and go over here where it says file. Nothing should be here, so go over here, hit this little button with 3 white dots, and go ahead and name this whatever you want. So my name is Chris Tutorial Pick, and save it to wherever you want. Documents, why not? Just go ahead and hit save. And now for the format, if you're working with a picture, you want to go ahead and select PNG, and options, make sure interlace is not checked, and go ahead and hit OK. However, if you are working with a movie, or an animation rather, you're going to want to select QuickTime Movie. I do not have the option for AVI, but do not use AVI. QuickTime is a hell of a lot better, and a lot smaller file when you render it. So go ahead and select QuickTime, and format, options, compression settings, compression type, go ahead and leave it on animation, and frames per second, you can change it to 59.4 or 30. You still have the same outcome. The only thing is that it's about 60 frames per second, and if you're planning on slowing down your intro at all, you're gonna want to make it 59.4. And make sure keyframe every 30 frames, depth, best depth, quality, best. Go ahead and hit OK. But since I'm not working with an animation, just a picture, I'm just going to go ahead and select PNG. Next, multipass. Make sure it's unchecked, and anti-aliasing. By default, everything is good. And now we bring it to our final tab, and this is going to be the options. And where it says options, you're going to want to come all the way to the right here. It says ray depth, and you're going to want to change that number to 6. And then for reflection depth, go ahead and change that to 2. And shadow depth, go ahead and change that to 6. So it'll be 626. And now once all that is done, we're not done yet. You want to go down to effect here, and you see all these effects: ambient occlusion, caustics, cell renderer, color correction, a bunch of stuff. You don't need to add any of this but ambient occlusion. So go ahead and add that. And I'll be showing you the difference between ambient occlusion and not having it on, so you guys can feel and see the difference in quality, and you'll be very impressed with your outcome. So go ahead and exit that once you have it. I actually have this render set. Actually, if you want to save it, go down here, save preset, and it'll ask you to name it, just like that. But I already have mine loaded, and if you want to change it, don't click the text, click the little square that's next to it, and then it'll bring you up to your I actually have this at 1280 by 720, so I'm going to change this to 1920 by 1080. Alright, so go ahead and exit that out, and I'm going to uncheck ambient occlusion and render for you guys so I can show you the difference. Okay, so that's without ambient occlusion, and as you can see, it renders pretty quickly considering that effect is not on. And this looks very, very good, but we're going to make it look a little bit more better. More better. We're going to make it look better. So go back to your render settings and select ambient occlusion and exit out. Go ahead and render it. And as it renders, it's taking a very long time. It should be taking longer than usual to render. It's because you have that effect on, and that adds light basically where all the light should be. You guys may not see a difference here, but it actually helps a lot. And I'm not sure if you take the light out, what else you'll have. If you take the light out, you could actually see some shadow within here, within the R and the I and all the letters basically. But if you add a light, that just gives you it more visible. And if you select none, no shadow, you get the same effect if there's no shadow. If there's no shadow, whether you have light or not. But if you add shadow, it makes it look a hell of a lot better. And go ahead and render that again if you want to see it. And this works with movies too. So if you wanted to save this now, you would not hit the middle button and hit render to picture viewer. You do not do that. Since you have this saved here and everything's good, all you're going to do is just hit this middle button right here. And I'm just going to say yes. And it's going to go ahead and render. Oh, I think I have this checked on all frames. So, all frames, yeah. You're going to want to leave that on manual, and I have it on QuickTime Movie, sorry. That's because I changed my settings. And then renders, yes. And then it renders into a picture. And then when it's done rendering, as I'll show you when it's done, you do not need to hit File Save. It automatically renders to where you saved it. And after that, you're good to go. And then you just do whatever you want with it. You can add it to your intros. You can add it to the beginning of your montages. You can add it to basically wherever you want. So it's done rendering. And go ahead and exit this out. We'll go to your Finder. Wherever you saved it, I saved it in my documents. I saved it as Chris Tutorial or something like that. Oh, I saved it as new logo intro. And there it is. And that's it, guys.